So good morning, friends. We have got Mehul Shinde with us. He has been working with CISF as an assistant commandant since last several years. So we are having him today for the interview guidance session, especially the interview which are going to start from next month, July, for CAPF, which is being conducted by UPSC. So he would be sharing his insights as first, what is the role of a CAPF? How can we prepare for the interview properly? What are the do's and don'ts? So this would be the sum of the basic things which you would be sharing with us. And depending upon the questions of the aspirants who are going to appear for the interview this year, he can share more light, more perspective, more in-depth analysis of how we can maximize our score for this interview and have a clarity of how our job is going to be once we go into the service, what we can expect from the job, so that we have a clarity when we are going in front of the interview board. So I welcome you, Mehul. Thank you for removing time for the aspirants out of your busy schedule.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am a Deputy Commandant Mehul. I'm with CISF and presently posted in a unit in Karnataka. Let us divide this session into 4 parts. First, a very brief introduction about all the services. सारे services के बारे में थोड़ी जानकारी लेते हैं जो यूपीएससी सीएपीएफ थ्रू ऑफर करती है. उसके बाद सेकंड वी कैन डिस्कस अबाउट since now you all are done with your written examinations, we will focus on the interviews. Third, what are the possible probable questions, what is your choice of service, and why you have a particular choice. We will discuss that. And lastly, what do you expect or what we can expect after we get selected in any of those aforementioned 4 or 5 services. So let us start with the first part, that what services are offered through CAPF. So in various points in history, the Indian government felt that internal security is of prime importance. For border security or for aggression from neighboring countries or say enemy countries, we have the army, navy and air force. And for internal security, we have, for law and order, we have the police system. And for other issues, we have for specialized issues what we face in internal security, we have the Central Armed Police Force. Paramilitary in general parlance we call, but it's a wrong nomenclature. It is now known as Central Armed Police Force. So apart from law and order, whatever issues take place in the country, it is manned or managed by the Central Armed Police Forces. So there are 5 services primarily in Central Armed Police Force. The most popular, well-known, because it's always in the news, is CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force. Central Reserve Police Force is basically dedicated for anti-Naxal operations. It has anti-insurgency operations, election duties, internal, sometimes law and order, and it is there in insurgency operations in Jammu and Kashmir. Next, we have the Border Guarding Force, BSF, on the Pakistan border and Bangladesh border. We have Sashastra Seema Bal on Nepal border. We have Indo-Tibetan Border Police, ITBP, which is on the China border primarily. And we have CISF, which is therefore, like the name suggests, internal security. This is just a basic overview of all the services. There are many intricacies, different aspects of each and every service. So as and when you get into the service, you will get to know that there are different roles to be performed. There are specializations, there are different courses, there are foreign deputations, there are internal deputations to different departments, which are deputation-based forces. So as a career, I would say that it is challenging, interesting, and there are plus and minus of each and every service, but it's a very interesting field to be in. This was the first overview what we have of each and every service. Second, the most important part on which we would focus right now would be the interviews. You all are done with your examination. Most of the aspirants might be in the process of juggling between many exams, pre-mains interview or written exam and interview. तो होता क्या है, ऐसे इसमें हमारा फोकस छूट जाता है. So whenever speaking strictly about CAPF, a general trend what is seen these days is people don't fill their preferences thoughtfully. I'll give you an example. जैसे कोई पहाड़ी इलाके से अगर कोई है, right? Let's say for an example, कोई उत्तराखंड से है या हिमाचल प्रदेश से है. I think that candidate should prefer a choice of opting for Indo-Tibetan Border Police or Sashastra Seema Bal, because those forces are deployed in those areas. The पहाड़ी इंसान already पहाड़ों से acclimatized है, तो training में और service में he won't face much difficulties, right? That is one aspect to look out for. Second thing, like everybody says, your choice of service. When the youthful motivation and jazba, what you say, fades away in various stages of life, the practicality aspect takes over. आपको practically भी देखना है कि आपका interest कौन सा है, उस service क्या offer करती है, क्या किस तरह के challenges आएंगे, क्या आप उन challenges को face करने के लिए ready है mentally और physically. If yes, then I think you would enjoy your service, and most of all, I think enjoying your service is the most important part. So like जैसे मैं बता रहा था कि service preference आपको एक बार सोच समझ के भरने, जो I think अब तक भर दिए होंगे. उसके बाद हम आते हैं इंटरव्यू पे. जो भी आपने सर्विस प्रेफरेंस दिए होंगे उसमें आपके इंटरव्यू के मार्क्स पे, इंटरव्यू के स्कोर पे बहुत कुछ ऊपर नीचे होता है, क्योंकि रिटर्न के बाद मार्जिन ऑफ एरर या मार्जिन ऑफ योर स्कोर और रैंक is not much. The topper who would be the topper and the last selected candidate, the difference between written marks won't be more than 30 to 40 marks, correct? And the interview, people get 50, people get 120, people get 100. So suppose the person who has topped the written exam has got let's say XYZ number of marks, and he loses substantial marks in interview. अगर वो प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं है, वो ठीक से आंसर नहीं कर पाया या ठीक से अपने व्यूज नहीं रख पाया यूपीएससी के सामने, तो पैनल के सामने, तो सपोज ही गेट्स ओनली 50 मार्क्स, एंड द पर्सन जो रिटन में लास्ट नंबर पे इंटरव्यू के लिए सिलेक्ट हुआ है, ही परफॉर्म्स एक्सेप्शनली वेल इन इंटरव्यू एंड ही गेट्स सपोज 120, तो वहीं पे 70 मार्क्स का एक डिफरेंस क्रिएट होता है, विच टेक्स योर रैंक सब्सटेंशियली हायर. तो लाइक सिविल सर्विसेज, सीएपीएफ के इंटरव्यू का जो मार्क्स का वेटेज है, आई थिंक दैट इज वेरी हाई, and one needs to really focus on the interviews. So I would request the candidates just to gauge the room, if there are any doubts, there are any questions, or if there's any particular thing you all want to know, so that we can discuss in that way.
Yes, so Akshay, Kunal, Prashant, if any particular doubts are there, then please ask. Feel free to ask to sir, so that this can be an interactive session and your doubts would be clear. Yes, Kunal, please go ahead.
How to justify our last preference, that is CRPF. So how to give a justified answer that yes, that is not due to the risk factor, but so...
Yeah. Okay, good question. I'm really happy that candidates are asking very pinpointed questions. Yeah. Anyone else, so that we can discuss? I'll just jot down whatever you all are asking.
Yes, ND's mic is on, so if you have a question, please go ahead. Otherwise, Prashant, you can ask a question.
Yes, anyone else? Fine, I'll
So
give you.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Sir, I'm right now also confused between CABF and paramilitary. So, although I have studied it well and I have done the distinctions well, but yesterday I visited to the CRPF website and it is saying that CRPF is a paramilitary force on the official website itself. So that has again put me in the confusion.
Okay. Any other question? Yeah. So basically, what it's just a nomenclature, does not matter. जनरल पब्लिक उसको पैरामिलिट्री कहते हैं, वो बहुत ही रिफाइंड टेक्निकल टर्म में हम सेंट्रल आर्म पुलिस फोर्सेस कहते हैं. So it is just for distinction between different institutions. Does not matter. You can call whatever you want. How to justify your preference. So in my experience, what we can expect from the board, हम अब वो चीजें डिस्कस करते हैं कि आप अगर इंटरव्यू जाते हो तो बोर्ड आपको प्रोबेबल क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछेगा. The first and the foremost question what I feel over the years is asked to candidates is what do you know about these particular services, और आपने ये प्रेफरेंस क्यों दिए है. ये सबसे ज्यादा पूछा जाने वाला सवाल है और ये पूछा भी जाएगा, right? It's a very logical thing to be thinking or to be asked by the panel. तो सबसे पहले आपने जो भी प्रेफरेंस दिए हो, right? If you ask me what my preferences were CISF, CRPF, BSF, Sashastra Seema Bal and ITBP. Honestly, I didn't think much of preference भरने से पहले. What my seniors or my colleagues suggested, that I applied for. आपको बोर्ड जरूर पूछेगा कि आपने पहले any one of you all have CISF as the first preference?
Yes,
Yes.
sir, I do.
है किसी का CISF?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone who has other than CISF as the first preference? I think most candidates have applied for CISF. The first question what board will ask is why CISF? ठीक है. The first suggestion I would give is be very honest with the board. Be confident in what you feel. Be confident in what your thoughts are. What were you thinking before filling this preference, right? The people sitting in the board or those who are interviewing you have an experience of more than 35 years. So you cannot bluff anymore. And your bluff is caught in 1 minute, right? So I'll share you my interview marks. जैसे मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा था कि रिटर्न में अगर कम हो और इंटरव्यू में ज्यादा हो तो आपका रैंक सब्सटेंशियली इंप्रूव होता है. मेरा रिटर्न में स्कोर कम था. आई मीन आई वाज ड्यूरिंग माय बैच आई थिंक देयर वर ओनली 100 वैकेंसीज. I assume I was ranked between 70 to 80 when it came to written score, but my interview score was highest that year. I scored 120, so my rank substantially jumped to 25 and I got my first preference. And board हमेशा पूछेगा आपको कि आपने CISF पहले क्यों दिया है. Or my strategy, let's say strategy, or I had prepared myself that I'll be honest with myself and I'll be honest with the board. So if you talk about particularly CISF, CISF is a central armed police force which functions in different areas. They are protecting the economic interests of the country. They are deployed in all the thermal power plants, hydropower plants, Department of Atomic Energy, Department of Space, ports, airports, and CISF is in VIP security also. In coal mines, in iron ore mines. So whatever you read on the economics page of the newspaper, whatever sectors of economy you can think of, all sectors of economy are more or less protected by CISF. So my answer, my explanation to the board was, one, it's a very, very diverse field, right? So because one day I'm posted in a thermal power plant in say Jharkhand, I'll get to know the understanding of a thermal power plant, how it helps the energy sector, how the economics behind it, and what kind of protection is there, what perimeter security is, what are the theft, what is the risk, and what if you are not protecting that plant, what all threat you have, threat assessment you call it. So it's an interesting field. After 2 3 4 years you are again posted to, let's say, a coal field or airport. There you have to unlearn and again relearn. So every 3 years or every posting you are reinventing yourself. That was my reason for preferring CISF, because you won't get bogged down by the monotony of any service. आप एक ही तरह का काम 30 साल 40 साल नहीं कर रहे हो. There's always newness, there are always to learn, there are always things to reinvent about yourself. अगर आप airport पे हो, अगर आप, let's say, you are in a coal field, you have to be a bit more aggressive. You have to be on the field. In the airport you have to deal with civilians, like the footfall is very high, so you have to reinvent yourself, your personality. So that is a challenge that I would like, and would save me from the monotony of any service. So that was my first justification. Second justification, for officer rank, CISF has 100% family posting except 1 or 2 units out of 350. So as personally I would like to have a balance between my professional life and my family life. Of all the central armed police forces, CISF comparatively has a better, slightly better family life than other services. So giving it a thought that both things are important in life, I preferred CISF as the first choice, not looking down upon other services, but within a mix of 5 services, I think CISF is substantially, marginally better in terms of family life. So I prefer that. Third thing was link your educational background to the service. For example, either your hobby or your educational background. जैसे मेरा educational background है engineering, ठीक है, तो मैंने वो भी justify किया कि since I am an engineer, मेरा electronics और telecommunication background है engineering का. फर्स्ट ईयर में जिन्होंने इंजीनियरिंग किया है उनको पता है कि फर्स्ट ईयर में यू हैव डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट, यू हैव अ बिट ऑफ मैकेनिक्स, यू हैव अ बिट ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग ड्राइंग एंड ऑल एक्सेट्रा. तो आपको एक इंजीनियरिंग माइंड डेवलप हो गया है. आप जहां भी प्लांट में पोस्टेड हो, फॉर एग्जांपल थर्मो पावर प्लांट और कोल प्लांट और आयरन और माइनिंग, तो बेसिक जहां पे उस प्लांट का फंक्शनिंग है, उस यूनिट का फंक्शनिंग है, ऑन द साइड ऑफ, और आप डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्पेस में कहीं पोस्टेड हो जहां से रॉकेट लॉन्च होता है, you understand the mechanics of each and everything. CISF also provides fire wing, has a specialized fire wing. तो आपको फायर के बारे में पता होता है, how different machines work. तो वो एडवांटेज होगा आपका अदर कैंडिडेट्स पे कि आप उसको एक इंजीनियरिंग माइंड से भी समझ सकते हो, और एक इंजीनियरिंग माइंड से आप सिक्योरिटी इक्विपमेंट्स को समझ पाओगे और इंटीग्रेट कर पाओगे सिक्योरिटी में. वेपन्स के बारे में हो गया, आपके सिक्योरिटी इक्विपमेंट में देयर आर हंड्रेड्स ऑफ गैजेट्स. ड्रोन इज द लेटेस्ट थिंग व्हिच इज बीइंग डिस्कस्ड एट अ वेरी सीरियस लेवल. तो बीइंग एन इंजीनियर आई एम वेल इक्विप्ड लोगों से ज्यादा कि मैं उसको समझ पाऊंगा और अपने सर्विस में इंटीग्रेट कर पाऊंगा. थर्ड थिंग, इंटीग्रेट योर एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड विथ योर सर्विस प्रेफरेंस. अनदर सब पार्ट ऑफ इट इज आपका हॉबी या आपके जो भी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर अचीवमेंट्स है, उसको इंटीग्रेट करो आप सर्विस के साथ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं अपने स्कूल और कॉलेज डेज में स्विमिंग करता था प्रोफेशनली. आई वन मेडल्स एट नेशनल लेवल एंड ऑल, which I had mentioned in my biodata. So the board asked me, since you are a swimmer, why don't you go represent India at the Olympics? And उतना तो मुझे समझ गया था मॉक इंटरव्यूज देखे कि इसके बाद का क्वेश्चन क्या होने वाला है. So whatever explanation I gave that why I didn't prefer sports as a chosen field, उसके और स्विमिंग, उसके बाद उन्होंने पूछा कि स्विमिंग का आपको यहाँ पे क्या फायदा होगा. So that answer was ready, that being from a sports background in my school and college days, one is मेरा physical strength develop हो गया है. Being in competitive sports, मेरा mental strength है, हार जीत चलते रहती है. So I think वो जो सर्विस में equanimity maintain करनी होती है in uniform services, I think that I already have. And thirdly, the exposure what swimming and participating in different events and different places in the country, that has enriched me with my experiences. And आप CISF कह लो, CRPF कह लो, आप अलग अलग जगहों पे अलग अलग लोगों से मिलोगे, अलग अलग जगहों पे posted. There are different geographies, there are different food, etc., etc. So I think I am well equipped to acclimatize myself very quickly to these different conditions. और बीइंग इन प्रोफेशनल स्पोर्ट्स आपको डिसिप्लिन तो रहना ही है. आपको अगर ट्रेनिंग करनी है सुबह तो करनी है, यू कैन नॉट मिस. अगर आपका कोई इवेंट आ रहा है तो यू हैव टू बी मेंटली एंड फिजिकली प्रिपेयर्ड. आपको आपके डाइट पे कंट्रोल करना है, आपको आपके इमोशंस को कंट्रोल करना है. यू हैव टू गिव योर बेस्ट ऑन द कॉम्पिटिशन डे. ये सारी चीजें एप्लीकेबल होती है यूनिफॉर्म सर्विसेज में भी. तो इस तरह से मैंने अपने हॉबी या अपने जो भी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर अचीवमेंट्स है उसको लिंक किया मैंने अपने सर्विस के साथ. सो होल एंड होल दीज वर द एरियाज which board asked me, and I was, I think, able to justify it to their liking. Since ये हो गया what is expected from for the board and what board will ask, और उसके बाद आपको क्या कहना है. इसके बाद I had friends who were asked the same question और उन्होंने गलती की थी. उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं मैं पैशनेट हूँ CISF के बारे में, which is I feel a very plastic and a fake answer. अगर पैशनेट हो तभी तो आपने सर्विस के लिए या इस एग्जाम के लिए ऑप्ट किया है. पैशन इज फाइन, बट व्हाई नॉट देन CRPF? व्हाई आर यू नॉट पैशनेट फॉर CRPF? So the bluff is caught in your one sentence that I am passionate. Yeah, I didn't think much before putting the preference. So basically, board का जो एक कहते हो, the board has a whip, and they just want you to acknowledge that, and they will use the whip on you. कि why CISF? If you don't acknowledge, then they will use the whip. नहीं, तुमको तो safe posting चाहिए, तुमको family के साथ रहना है, which is not a wrong thing, or which is not a thing that you should not desire. Everybody wants, or I think most of the people want a good balance between your family life and your professional life and diverse experience or professional enrichment. So if you itself tell the board that while preferring the service or preferences भरते वक्त मैंने सोचा कि सबसे पहले diverse experience जरूरी है, second preference पे good balance between family life and ये, third मेरा educational background, and fourth the hobbies and all. I think the board will be fairly satisfied that why you have applied for preference. This was about CISF. Same thing आप CRPF के बारे में भी सोच सकते हो. Okay, it's one of the largest CAPF. Next, you will be leading men on the front. If you belong to the area which is Naxal affected or terrorism affected or insurgency affected, then you can say that. For example, अगर कोई महाराष्ट्र से है और गढ़चिरौली से है, वो कह सकते हैं कि मैंने अपने ग्रोइंग इयर्स में नक्सलिज्म से अपने डिस्ट्रिक्ट को अफेक्ट होते हुए देखा है, CRPF का काम देखा है. आई थिंक इट्स अ चैलेंजिंग थिंग, and I would like to take the challenge head on, and that is why I prefer this service. Or ITBP, then again same. You can integrate it with the knowledge and your understanding of current events, that how China is the biggest potential threat to India, and that is why you wish to go on ground and work, being the part of ITBP. Similarly, wherever Sashastra Seema Bal is posted, or BSF border areas, so you can actually give practical examples that I traveled to Amritsar, I saw the parade, and I spoke with a few officers, I found the role challenging, and something like that. So हर सर्विस के बारे में अपने पर्सनल टच देके उसका अंडरस्टैंडिंग बताते हुए आपको आपके प्रेफरेंसेस जस्टिफाई करने हैं. बोर्ड विल आस्क यू क्या चैलेंजेस से डरते हो, इसलिए CRPF लास्ट में रखा है क्या, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. तो बोलना दैट इट्स नॉट दैट देयर आर नो चैलेंजेस और देयर आर नो कैजुअलिटीज इन CISF. The casualties are lesser and lesser reported when it comes to CISF or other CAPF compared to CRPF. So in that way you can defend. If board is satisfied, then well enough. If not, then you can always say, sorry sir, in my limited understanding. So, ma'am, this is what I understand in my limited knowledge. That is why I filled these preferences. So, in that way, you have to defend your preferences. Next, in your interview, there is a thin line which you need to understand and work upon. कि सिविल सर्विसेज का इंटरव्यू और CAPF का इंटरव्यू, इसमें एक डिफरेंस जरूर होगा. करेक्ट. बोर्ड आपसे ये जरूर पूछेगा कि आपने दूसरे भी कोई एग्जाम्स दिए हैं क्या, आप वहां पे सिलेक्ट होने से यहाँ छोड़ देंगे और यहाँ छोड़ने के बाद फिर आप सीट किसी की खा रहे हो, या देन व्हाई आर यू अप्लाइंग फॉर सो मेनी एग्जाम्स, यू शुड जस्ट फोकस ऑन सिविल सर्विसेज. हो सकता है बोर्ड आपसे इस तरह के भी क्वेश्चंस पूछे. The main intention behind asking this is, one, the attrition rate in some CAPF is on the rise. Attrition rate का मतलब resign देने का percentage बहुत बढ़ रहा है, right? And it is either because people have no clarity about the service, और बिल्कुल मतलब service में आने के बाद ब्लाइंड साइट हो जाता है कि अरे मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था ऐसा भी होता है, या ये भी होता है, ऐसा करना पड़ेगा, मुझसे नहीं होगा. And second thing, people are applying for different exams or civil services and all. So, is in तरह के questions में आपको you have to be very honest with yourself and very honest with the board. आपको कहना है sir, I mean, when we start our journey in competitive exams, it is always good to have a plan B. For me, if civil services was plan A, and for me plan B is Central Armed Police Forces, because of all the other exams, I feel CAPF as a career would do justice to what I expect from my life. So that is why I applied for these two exams. And personally, मतलब मेरे लिए ये था कि मैं किसी भी एग्जाम के 3 अटेम्प्ट के बाद I would work. So मैं बोर्ड को ये I mean, when I was asked such type of questions, I was able to tell the board that irrespective of selection in CAPF or civil services or state service, which I had appeared for interview that year, the one which offers me and preferably a uniformed service, I would join that, because by the age of 24 and 25, I had decided I won't appear for any more exams. I will work, because I don't want to waste my youthful years just preparing for exams and waiting for results. And in case if I feel that I need to give another shot at any other exam, if the department allows and my professional competencies are not hampered, or it does not hamper my work performance, I would prepare for some other exams if it permits, or if I don't find my present work challenging. So ऐसे आपको वो defend करना है, because it's your constitutional, legal and moral right to appear for as many exams as you want, and every service respects it. No one is going to deny you appearing for an exam, correct? So आपको वैसे भी justify करना है. आपको पूछा कि नहीं सिविल्स के लिए प्रिपेयर किया तो यहाँ क्यों आए, बोलना कि मुझे ये चैलेंजिंग लगता है, like what these services offer, and as a career, as a plan B, I think this is good service to be in. So ये है. Another thing, अगर आपका CISF first preferences है, since I am in CISF, I can give you a brief insights, minute insights which would help you in interviews. आप ये कह सकते हो कि CISF जहां जहां फंक्शन करता है वहां पब्लिक फुटफॉल बहुत ज्यादा है, तो थ्रेट और असेसमेंट या थ्रेट बहुत ज्यादा भी होता है, और जहां पब्लिक फुटफॉल ज्यादा है वहां आपका पब्लिक इंटरेक्शन होगा, और इसीलिए ये एक चैलेंजिंग सर्विस है. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू वर्क विद CISF, be it airports, be it ports, be it metros, or coal fields, or any other areas where you work, right? Next, आप you can integrate whatever knowledge of economics you have or international relations you have with your service preference. Like I think yesterday or day before yesterday, our honorable Prime Minister went to USA. He exported the soft power of there was a lot of focus on yoga at UN, and trade relations, a lot of investments coming in India, a lot of growth is expected, the trillion dollar economy, whatever the government plans on having in the next 5 years, I think CISF would play a very large role in protecting the economic interests of all these areas that we are focusing upon. So in some way or the other, you get to be a part of the economic growth of India and in a way make India a superpower. So CISF say related, I'm giving you these pointers. Same thing you can always defend about BSF or ITBP, that China is the biggest threat, biggest competitor, biggest threat what India faces, and that is why being in the frontier in an organization like ITBP, it would be immensely satisfying to defend India from whatever incursions or intrusions China is doing in those places. Also, ITBP ke postings, if you are really into mountains and something like that. So ITBP also offers mountaineering courses. You are posted in Leh, Ladakh, or Sikkim, or those areas. So it's a challenging life and interesting also. Now I would like the candidates to ask whatever your questions are pertaining to the interview, pertaining to personal stuff, like I have XYZ background, or I have XYZ hobby, and these are my preferences. So what am I expected, or what should I say? And third thing, if you have any doubts about any of the CAPF or how the work is, what are the promotion avenues or deputation avenues, and etc. about the service in particular.
So, Mehul, there is a question in the chat box which
Yeah.
says that how to justify the gap years. He has 4 years gap from his graduation. So, what should be the answer like?
Okay. Board might ask or might not ask, but you know that if you have a 4-year gap, either you were preparing for some exam, civils or CAPF, or you were working, right? If there's no work experience, then you can honestly say that after my graduation, I felt civil services or CAPF is my calling. I started preparing for it, but I did not get the expected desired success. But I was confident that some or the other time I would be able to crack these exams. So I think 2-3 years for me was the time frame which I had given myself, and that is why this. तो आपने एक तो सच बोल दिया कि मैं प्रिपेयर कर रहा था और एक्सपेक्टेड रिजल्ट्स नहीं आए, और दूसरा आपने कॉन्फिडेंस भी दिखाया कि 2-3 सालों में मुझे पता था कि कहीं ना कहीं मेरा सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा, तो बोर्ड विल आई थिंक विल बी फेयरली सेटिस्फाइड. उसको अगर आपको और अच्छे से बोर्ड के सामने if you want to put forward to the board, if you have something in those 4 years, that would be really of great help. Like if you've done some post graduation or some other course, or you've done trekking or something like that, so you can add that gap was just for exam purposes, but मैंने इन 4 सालों में ये कोर्स कर लिया है, फॉरेन लैंग्वेज सीख ली, या मैंने अपने हेल्थ पे कंसंट्रेट किया, मैंने नया कोई गेम सीख लिया. तो इट वाज एकेडमिक गैप, बट फॉर पर्सनालिटी वाइज देयर वाज नो गैप फॉर मी. That is how you justify your gap years.
Correct. And honesty, I think, is very much required. So if we have required 2-3 years to get into this stage, what we can say is initially I did not understand the demand of the examination because of the misguidance, or because I was from the rural area, or whatever that might be. And today, that after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever the time period is there, I am at an interview. This shows that I have grown in this.
Correct.
So that is how we can portray it. Any other question from anyone else? Any specific questions if you want to ask? Yes, Swapnil is there, Prashant is there, Kunal is there, Akshay.
Yes.
Sir, I have work experience of 1.5 years. Then I left.
You have
corporate experience of 1.5 years.
Okay.
Then I resigned to prepare for competitive exams.
Okay.
But if board asks me, if you are unable to make it to the forces, will you join the corporate again? Then what should be response from my side?
ठीक है. तो आपका 1.5 इयर्स का कॉर्पोरेट है एक्सपीरियंस है, फिर आपने एग्जाम्स के लिए प्रिपेयर किया और बोर्ड ने आपको पूछा है कि अगर आप कोर्सेज में नहीं रहते हो तो क्या आप फिर से कॉर्पोरेट में जाओगे,
Yes,
राइट?
sir. Yes.
Correct. So I think being too pointed in that direction would be negative on your part. जैसे you can say that मैंने मेरे 1.5 साल के कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ में ये एक्सपीरियंस किया, ये पॉजिटिव्स थे और ये नॉट सो पॉजिटिव्स थे. दैट इज व्हाई आई डिसाइडेड टू क्विट एंड जॉइन फोर्सेस. दिस वाज अ वेरी कॉन्शियस डिसीजन, वेल थॉट आउट डिसीजन. और उसके बाद मैं फोर्सेस ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ. सो आई डोंट थिंक इट वाज अ रैंडम डिसीजन और मैं फोर्सेस में तो रहूंगा. तो दैट इज हाउ यू डिफेंड.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Someone is asking, do we have to produce certificates of all the achievement during interview? As such, board never asks you to. Some candidates carry a file. कभी-कभी board बोल देता है कि नहीं, हाथ में जो कुछ भी है वो बाहर छोड़ दो. और I don't think anyone lies on their bio. And if you have some notable certificates, you know by heart that, for example, मैंने Model United Nations में I had participated, I had swimming experience, तो वो मैंने बता दिया था. Board never asks as such. अगर बहुत ही if you have something really exceptional, then I think it is better to carry. Otherwise, if it is something normal, then I think leave it. इंटरव्यू का वो भी होता है कि आपकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी देखी जाती है. जैसे आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल पार्ट बट वर्क करता है. जैसे अगर आपको आपका स्कोर 100 प्लस या फॉर दैट मैटर 120 तक ले जाना है तो छोटी छोटी बातें भी मैटर करती है. आई स्पीक फ्रॉम माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस. आप आपके पर्सनैलिटी के हिसाब से उसको मॉडिफाई कर लेना. मेरा एज व्हेन आई अपीयर्ड फॉर इंटरव्यू वाज 24. One, I was skinnier than I am right now. Two, third, I always have the habit of cutting my hair short. Three, fourth, I have specs, but for interview I preferred not wearing spectacles. Right. Next, I realized मेरा इंटरव्यू दोपहर का सेशन है और मेरा नंबर सेकंड लास्ट, राइट, और मेरे बाद किसी लेडी का इंटरव्यू है एंड सेम बोर्ड. तो एक दिन भर इंटरव्यू लेके बोर्ड is also of humans, they'll get bored same answers सुन के. तो मुझे कुछ तो विटी करना है. I have to present myself as a fresh candidate. वो सेम चीजें पूछ के सुन के एक्सपेक्ट करके बोर हो गया होता है. तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी फ्रेश कि आप खुद बोर नहीं लगने चाहिए कि आप सुबह से खाना नहीं खाए हो या आप बोर हो गए हो, थक गए हो. फेस पे नहीं दिखना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट, ड्रेस वेरी स्मार्टली. Depending on your personality. Like I was skinny, so and it was core summer time जब मेरा इंटरव्यू था. So I made a conscious decision not wearing a blazer. It is not humanly possible. दिल्ली की गर्मी में आप ब्लेजर पहन के बैठे हो. Of course, UPSC भवन is air conditioned and all, but I preferred कि मैं नहीं पहनूंगा. एक, my this appearance was fairly fit. I had a good shirt and pant. I had dressed smartly, and I was more comfortable in normal clothes. So that was about it. And have a decent haircut, have a good appearance, seem fresh, give a smile to the board. Don't be under pressure. And depending on when your interview is, manage that way. Dress smartly according to your physique or your personality. Someone has asked, speaking about plan B in interview, for example, I have done XYZ course in between for plan B. Does it show negative attitude? I don't think कोई कोर्स करना या कुछ करना आपका नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड. इनफैक्ट वो आपका बहुत पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड दिखाता है कि आपने सिर्फ बैठ के पढ़ाई नहीं की. यू ऑल्सो इनकलकेटेड अ स्किल, अ कोर्स, एंड यू अपग्रेडेड योरसेल्फ. तो आप उसको खुद नेगेटिव मत समझो, आप उसको खुद पॉजिटिवली पुट फॉरवर्ड करो कि मुझे लगा कि मेरे इन प्रिपरेशन के सालों में मैंने ये स्किल अपने अंदर लाना चाहिए और आई शुड बी डूइंग दिस कोर्स, सो दैट इज व्हाई आई डिड दैट. you yourself don't consider it negative. See, बहुत ही सिंपल रखना है अपने आप को. क्या आपने कोई चोरी की है, कहीं डकैती की है, कहीं झगड़ा किया है? नो, यू आर वेल विद इन योर राइट. आपने कॉन्शियस डिसीजन लिया एक एग्जाम देने का, एक सर्विस चूज करने का, और आपने प्रिपेयर किया. देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन इट, एंड दैट यू हैव टू प्रूव टू द बोर्ड, राइट? How can we justify use of mechanical engineering in CAPF? See, engineering के बारे में मैं pointers दे देता हूँ, क्योंकि most of the candidates I assume are engineers. एक engineering में आपको problem solving attitude थोड़ा ज्यादा हो जाता है. आपको maths होता है, you have engineering, you have different problems, you have solutions, you have practicals. तो आपको mechanical engineering में whatever machine knowledge you have, so you can defend it that because of that I have developed a problem solving attitude and thinking about numerous solutions और सबसे best solution उस situation में क्या होगा, right? Engineering by its nature has different type of stress. हर कोर्स का होता है, इंजीनियरिंग का अलग टाइप का स्ट्रेस होता है. आपको सबमिशंस होते हैं, प्रैक्टिकल्स होते हैं, रीडिंग्स ठीक से नहीं आ रहे हैं, एग्जाम में रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहे हैं, शॉर्ट नोटिस पे आपको एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करने हैं, तो विच इज सिमिलर टू फोर्सेस. तो उस तरह से आपका एटीट्यूड डेवलप हो जाता है. Being mechanical engineering graduate, you can say that most of the forces use machines, security equipments, and vehicles. So your mechanical engineering knowledge will help in these fields also. You can say that this will help you in different aspects of the service. अगर आपकी हॉबी डायरी राइटिंग है, अनप्लान ट्रैवलिंग है, तो पॉसिबल प्रोबेबल क्वेश्चंस क्या हो सकते हैं? व्हाट डू यू गेन बाय डायरी राइटिंग? क्यों करते हो? कहाँ से इंस्पायर हुए? ये सिर्फ डायरी राइटिंग पे पूछा जा सकता है. हाउ विल इट हेल्प यू? हाउ इज दैट, हाउ डायरी राइटिंग हैज हेल्प्ड यू? ये पूछा जा सकता है. और हाउ विल इट हेल्प यू इन योर service? It's, I think, a fairly justifiable hobby. I mean, it's a good hobby. Unplanned traveling. So, I mean, if the board really wants to grill you, then they can say कि unplanned तो कुछ नहीं होता है, आप सोच के ही तो जा रहे हो. जैसे मैं अभी बैठा हूँ, मैंने सोचा चलो गोवा चलते, तो वो प्लान ही तो है. But you can say, sir, by unplanned traveling, I mean not micromanaging my traveling, that I'll go by this time and I'll go by this mode of transport and I'll stay here and I'll see those things. I just decide a destination and cost effective mode of travel, and I go to explore these aspects of any place. And since traveling is my hobby, I think CAPF as a career is more of travel. So I am already accustomed to the various demands what traveling has, and that is how you can defend. How to answer situation reaction test? I'm not sure what you are asking. Situation reaction.
So if a situation is given that if there is a bomb in the classroom or something of that sort.
Okay. Now it depends on what kind of situation you are given. If it's related to borders or terrorist threat or CAPF, then use your basic knowledge what you have learned in your preparation days. Don't try to be expert in CISF. जैसे अगर एयरपोर्ट पे अगर हाईजैकिंग कॉल हो गया या बॉम्ब थ्रेट हो गया तो क्या करना है, तो पहले तो BDDS एक्टिवेट होगा, NSD को बुलाया जाएगा. You don't need to get into the details क्योंकि you are not in service. You can say, sir, as far as I know, अगर एयरपोर्ट पे बॉम्ब थ्रेट होता है तो पहले तो CISF एक्टिवेट होगा, BDDS, उसके बाद पहले तो आना नहीं चाहिए, वो पहले डिटेक्ट हो जाना चाहिए, फिर स्टेट पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म किया जाएगा, NSG आएगा, एक्सेट्रा. बट आई डोंट थिंक गेट इनटू द डिटेल्स ऑफ इट. गो बाय द वेरी रूडिमेंटरी फंडामेंटल नॉलेज दैट यू हैव एंड एक्सेप्ट, सॉरी सर, सर्विसेज का इंटरनल फंक्शनिंग मुझे पता नहीं है, लेकिन मेरे बेसिक नॉलेज में इतना ये चीज करनी चाहिए. So that,
if I add a little bit, Mehul, what is expected is, are you able to think on your feet? So presence of mind is one of the very important qualities which the board would like, because as a central armed police force service, you are going to face a lot of unexpected situations. So are you able to think on your feet? What kind of answer you are giving? Like yesterday, to some of the candidates, I asked them a very situational type of simple question. We just faced one of the very bad incidents in railway regarding the Balasore incident, right? So on a similar situation, I made a situational test for the interview. I said that let us assume that you are the loco driver, and usually the train is going through A route, and you find that that A route is broken, damaged, and if the train is going to go through that route, then 100% there is going to be an accident. And now you have got an option to go through a B route. That B route is hardly used, never used, and that is why some innocent kids are playing there on that route, right? So now in this situation, what are you going to do? If you go by the A route, there is going to be casualty 100%, no other option is going to be there. And in the B route, if you go through that route, 100% the situation is such that the kids who are playing, they never expect a train there, so there is going to be death of those children who are playing there. In this situation, what you have to do? So now most of the candidates said very nicely that that was very prudent of them, that sir, can I take a moment to think over the situation, right? So you can handle it in that way, and then you can think over this situation, and some you can use the keywords that what is the casualty metrics. I would, you can say, use that कि जहाँ पे casualty कम होती है वहाँ पे मैं जाऊँगा. But again, thinking on the you can say if we can say that the quality required is presence of mind, then you should have asked the board that whether it is a passenger train or a goods train, right?
Correct.
So this is the kind of, I think, more, instead of going into the details of the service, the SOPs, yes, you can say that I am going to follow the SOPs which have been taught to me at that time. But what can you think at that period of time? That is more going to be appreciated by the board, according to my limited judgment. Yes, you can carry on.
Someone has asked that my first preference is CISF. Is CISF in any way related to agriculture? See, directly, no service is related to any service, but you can always say that being from agricultural background, agriculture background, I know the plus and minus, pros and cons, sometimes of whatever agriculture has. And since being a primarily agricultural country, I understand the nature of people and all. Something like that you can say. You have done PG in disaster management from IGNU. What questions can I expect? You can expect a lot of questions depending upon, I mean, whatever you've learned in disaster management, go revise it, because your interview, I feel, would be more on disaster management. So what kind of disasters? It's a natural disaster, man-made disaster. कौन से सर्विसेज कहाँ posted होती है, वहाँ पे क्या disaster हो सकता है. You should read about NDRF, okay, and something like that. Basic things about disasters. So those type of questions you can expect. Your interview will definitely be on disaster management. So
I think that we have answered all the questions. One question is still there. You are posted as a AC in BSF.
okay.
This is a situation test, I guess. You are having hard intelligence of smuggling, but your senior is ignoring you. What will you do? How can we tackle this?
I don't think such questions would be asked, but if you have hard intelligence, you can, being an AC, you have powers, you have your area, and you can always do what is specified in the SOPs.
So may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So there was a question on similar lines. So what if our senior is asking us to doing any illegal thing, or which is not according to the professional code of conduct? So should we follow the orders, or should we follow the conduct of the professional code?
See, by the nature or by the virtue of service, you are appointed at a gazetted rank. That means whatever orders are there, you have to follow it using your sound judgment. Your sound judgment, which is based on Indian Constitution, laws, and ethics, does not allow you or permit you or make you, to follow the wrong instructions or wrong orders or illegal orders of your senior, and you would deny the same. Simple.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, anything?
I think that Mehul has answered most of the questions. So should we call it the end of the session? Okay, so thanks a lot, Mehul. You have been really insightful, because what happens for the students is they prepare, but it becomes a very much like a theoretical thing. But when we get insights from a officer, a senior officer like you, who has been working on the field since so many years, and you have got so much diversity of job experience. Like, I have seen you work in West Bengal, you have been working in Manipur, you have been working in Jharkhand, now you are posted at Karnataka, and so many other different experiences you have gathered. So all your experience, all your in-depth analysis, and the way in which you have answered each query, I really think that the students, aspirants would get a lot of help, and actually that would get converted into at least plus 5-10 marks, right? So I'm really indebted to you that you have helped our students. You have given it back to the aspirants, and we hope that in future also, whenever the students would require an interaction with you, you would be most ready as always to help the students. So thank you, Mehul. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. All the best, everybody. Come out with flying colors, and hope to see you in CISF very soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.